welcome to Stephanie Uncensored. This book is called Midnight Exposure by Melinda Leigh, and I listened to this on Kindle Unlimited. Actually, I didn't listen to it on Kindle Unlimited. It came with my purchase of the book, the narrative version of it, and the narrator was okay. It was a male narrator, even though the main character, in my opinion, was the female in the story, but you did have a lot of male characters, another male character in the book that was part of the main story, and it just started off in her voice, and her, knowing her story, so it was kind of confusing for me to have a male voice doing a female kind of version of it. But it's a mystery, it's romance, it has crime, and it's a thriller. And our main female character is named Jane, and she is a travel / paparazzi photographer and journalist. She goes to this small town to look for a well-known sculptor that supposedly lives in this town, and she needs to get pictures of him because there aren't any pictures. Well, while she's there, she ends up getting this admirer, kind of spooky, crazy stalker guy, that sees her and stalks her while she's in the town. Well, Jane's past, she had a stalker that attacked her, and it was someone that she knew, and so she's very untrusting of men, and that's where she's at in this story. Then we have our male character, our main character, who is named Reed, and he is he's an ex-cop that moves to this small sleepy town to get his son out of the spotlight of their past. And now the son is 18, getting ready to graduate from high school and move on to college, and he's still dealing with things of his past. He doesn't want to be in the spotlight, and then there's secrets in, with that. So the two of them meet, and because she's asking around, and she ends up going to the address that supposedly the sculptor lives at, and this is where she meets Reed, and they just kind of have this instant attraction, but they find each other attractive, but at the same time, Reed is kind of standoffish, and Jane is, is looking for the story. So that's where they are. There are cults and Wiccans and ancient ways that are pretty much thrown at you right in the beginning of the story. There's two hikers in the beginning of the story that you find out about. One gets killed, and one, you just don't know what happens to him. More stalkers. Law enforcement is pretty incompetent, and being former law enforcement, it kind of irked me a little bit, but at the same time, in a sleepy town like this, I can totally understand that lieutenant or that, deputy sheriff that wants to be the sheriff because, he thinks he knows it all, but doesn't have the competency to run the town and run the law enforcement like it should. So completely understand about that. It wasn't a tick off. And the mystery, it was, kind of the craziness of who was actually doing the stalking. That kind of, kept me into it. At first, I was actually about to stop the story, or stop reading the story, stop listening to it, because it just wasn't pulling me in. By the end of it, I was like, okay, this is a pretty good book. So I gave it 4 stars. It was okay for me. But if you're looking for a mystery, it does lead into the next book, even though it's not a cliffhanger. There are 3 books in the series, and I guess it's called Midnight, but I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, it's a standalone book, but reading the synopsis for the next book, it sort of brings in characters that you found at the end of this book. So that is Midnight Exposure by Melinda Leigh, and I gave it 4 stars. I do say check it out if you like mysteries. It is kind of slow in the beginning, but other than that, it was a pretty good book. And I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye!